Namaskar. I hope you all can hear me fine. So, what is it that India can do from day one? Because they have said that they are abrogating or they are walking away from the Indus Water Treaty. We have done a lot of research and we're going to present with you actual data where the bypasses are being built or have already been built. What is the status? How far can this be done? And what else is happening in and around this area? By the way, today there was a security meeting that Amit Shah took in Srinagar, I'm told, and guess who was not invited to that? And that was Mr. Omar Abdullah, the Chief Minister of Jammu and Kashmir. Clearly now they have established that the tourism department, which comes under the J&K state administration, opened this thing on the 20th. They did not inform the hotels. They did not tell the police that this was going to be open, thus giving an opportunity for the terrorists to sneak in and attack. In Bandipur, another similar thing was tried. 4 extremists or terrorists have been killed, and one of them happens to be a local LET commander, but it's all too late. Now, how do we can't get back these 28 operatives that have died. By the way, that number is a little low. My information is it's closer to 50. India is withholding the names of some of the intelligence personnel for, I can understand why. But please, I have a small slide deck and this goes through some detail about what is going to happen in this move of India, and I really would appreciate it if you can like this video. If you have not already subscribed to our channel, please do subscribe to our channel. Here we go. Bharat-Pakistan, the current geopolitical storm explained in simple terms. One other thing that I want to tell is Mr. Manoj Sinha, who's a lieutenant governor, who's really the one having much of the power, has been spending a lot of time in Uttar Pradesh and not in Delhi. That to me is a red flag. What is the importance of him going and sitting in Uttar Pradesh? Because see, this bad blood, this bad smell that is coming about trying to keep Yogi under their thumb by the top 2 is really beginning to stink. I think that is what is happening. Manoj Sinha is one of their hand-picked people who has to go and sit in UP. Why are you taking charge of Jammu and Kashmir? Why don't you quit and work full-time and try to dethrone Yogi Adityanath? These are all questions that nobody wants to ask. Why? This is very important. In fact, Mr. Manoj Sinha accompanied Amit Shah on the same flight from New Delhi during that after the Pahalgam massacre. So he was not in Pahalgam. I don't buy this thing, guys, that you have to be if you are taking charge of a place, especially a sensitive state like Jammu and Kashmir. I wouldn't say sensitive state, it's a sensitive union territory. You need to be there 24/7. I mean, if you are going to be spending your time somewhere else, so go sit there. Don't waste everybody's time and endanger others' lives. So I find Manoj Sinha guilty, and whoever it is that is telling him to do all these things, they are just as responsible. So I don't buy that there is only one-sided problem. Yes, Omar Abdullah did something, the tourism department did something that they should have not done. Every year it only starts on the 1st of June. Why did it start on the 20th of April this time? So there was planning that went on. You know what, when you find such things, you need to start firing left and right and even cancelling their pensions. India somehow is this is a government that is supposed to be pro-India, pro-patriotic India. Anyway, much more work to be done. Anyway, let's get back to Indus Water Treaty, misconceptions and real facts. Even though the treaty says that India will get only 20% of Indus water, while 80% goes to Pakistan, in reality, the 20% is not being used by India. Much of it just flows out to Pakistan. So what India started doing after 2014, one thing that I credit the Modi government with, is that they started finding ways to divert water from these rays. And I'm going to give you the exact places, the exact names of these barrages, so that you get an idea of where the water is flowing. However, there are some gaps still to be filled. That also I will go over that. Now, Article 3 in the treaty permits Bharat to reduce water flow within limits but not block it completely. See, somebody gets used to getting water free even though they are not entitled to. You know what they do? they start building and assuming that you're going to get it forever. Like the way people are saying about USAID, all clandestine money transfers, and now everybody around the world is jumping up and down saying that, oh, my funding has been cut off, my funding has been cut off. Why? Because these people got entitled. They felt like, yeah, I should get this thing. But what? You are doing all bad stuff. Anyway, so now what is going to happen is, because that 80% also is going to go, it might even be 60%. It is going to be defined by how quickly India can take that water out from there and send it downstream. By the way, the water table in Punjab is really, really low. To just get it into the ground, that could help. That might be one thing, but there are still gaps. So I'm going to come to that in just a minute. Bharat right now allows 2 million acre-feet from the Ravi to flow permanently into Pakistan annually, despite no obligation to do so. Let's take a look at the maps. See here, see how Ravi joins Chenab and Jhelum, and then they all go back and join Indus a little bit later. Now, this part, Ravi is completely within India, and still we are letting a lot of water go through. How much water are we letting it go through? Take a look at it. It is 2 million acre-feet. This is the standard measurement, 2 million acre-feet. Now, so this is actually our water, India's water, and that is also being sent to the enemy country here. Now, post 2014, this is the part I really appreciate Modi's government for. Modi government built multiple dams, and I'm going to show you all these things. Multiple dams, multiple canals, and interlinking infrastructure to utilize and redirect excess water within India. These canals can now divert excess water from western rivers into eastern rivers. What are the western rivers? Chenab, Jhelum, and Indus. World Bank ruled in favor of Bharat when Pakistan raised objection. These guys will not do anything on their own, but they'll keep objecting to what India tries. But World Bank ruled in India's favor. Pakistan threat to approach the International Court of Justice. They're not going to sit quiet. These are all like, you can whip up passions and frenzy. They wanted to go to ICJ, but the court lacks jurisdiction in this particular case because India or Bharat did not sign the treaty of 1969 on International Water Treaty. So India doesn't have to look at what the ICJ will say. This is not going to stop them from trying, but basically India can ignore it. So here is one thing that you can completely do it on your own without waiting for anyone's approval or disapproval, without anyone saying anything. Now, this is the most important chart in my opinion, so please take a look at it. See the dotted line? The dotted line is the boundary between India and Pakistan. And you can see there are two classifications on top, western rivers and eastern rivers. The western rivers are the ones that are flowing for the most part into Pakistan, and the eastern rivers are for the most part flowing into India. Now, if you look at what are all the different things that have been constructed, by the way, many of these dams are not functional, so that's another problem for them. Even when they get excess water, they don't have a way of storing it. That's one problem. There's also another problem, significant problem. I'll tell you about that a little bit later. So you take a look at these three, Indus, Jhelum, and Chenab. You have on Indus, you have Tarbela Dam, Kalabagh Barrage, Chashma Barrage, and Tausha Barrage, and then finally there is the Gaddu Barrage. Then you have on Jhelum, Mangla Dam, Marala Barrage, and Rasul Barrage. By the way, the Mangla Dam features prominently in one of my stories that is yet to be released, so I will be releasing that because that is again another critical point where it's one of those things that is very critical as far as water is concerned on Jhelum. And Chenab, you have 3 or 4 barrages. You get the idea, right? Now let's take a look at how India can actually, save up the Ravi water, which India is not obligated to send. How can it use that to send it to somewhere else? See the diversion there, dotted blue, between Madhopur barrage is above that dotted line, and that diversion between Ravi and Beas means that water can be flowing from Ravi to Beas. And then from Beas, you have Harika barrage as well as Hussaini-Wala barrage, and that's just before you get into Pakistan. And from the Hussaini-Wala barrage, there are diversions again. So these diversions will make sure that the extra water will come down to the eastern parts of Punjab. Now, Nangal Barrage is the Bhakra Nangal Dam. That's a massive hydroelectric and reservoir in Satluj River. I have not, I don't know if some of you have seen it. I have seen it. It's a wonderful, wonderful place. Okay, so this is the two diversions that you are seeing. These are the ways by which India would be able to at least ensure from Ravi, Beas and Satluj that they can save that water. Now there are more things that are being planned, and I'll try and see if I can come to that. Now let's take a look at the Pakistani dams. We have all these dams, right? Tarbela, Mangala, Bangala, Wangala, Yangala, everything, right? What these people do is they don't desilt. They don't desilt their dams, which means that the mud starts piling up at the bottom of the dam, and therefore it reduces the amount of water it can hold. You know where this happened? It happened in dear old Singara, Chennai. You know what happened in 2016? There is a reservoir, a mud bank reservoir called Chembrambakam. This Chembrambakam reservoir was in danger of breaking apart because of the heavy inflows of water. You know what they did? They of course opened the sluice gates, and that flooded considerable portions of Chennai. Now you might ask me, so how is that related with this Pakistani dams? I'll come to that in a second. But what happened was, in the years before that, this is the Jayalalitha government. She was still alive at that point of time. The Jayalalitha government, and it is believed that Madam Sasikala was the one who diverted or ate the money. There were 100 desilting trucks. Assume that this is a number. Let's say if you had 100 trucks that were supposed to go and desilt the sand that was accumulating from the inflows at the Chembrambakam reservoir, they were supposed to take that thing out so that more water can stay there and less sand. Okay, out of 100, only 50 were deployed. The other 50, swaha. This is the government that did it, and I'm sure the DMK government continues to do this. In some of these things, they are amazingly similar. Amazingly similar. ADMK, DMK, they do the same shit. Sorry to use French. This is the same thing they do. So even in India, there are many places where the desilting gets swallowed. They don't do it properly, and this becomes a problem when excess rains happen. Okay, now because of this 30% of the incoming the silting that is there on the upper stream barrages in Pakistan, Sindh itself is not getting enough water supply. In fact, it's not only that, the Indus, the water that flows into Indus, by the time it reaches Sindh and then into the Arabian Sea, the water is so low, that the flow is so low because the silting had to be done in there also, that now seawater, it is actually starting to push into the land. So when seawater starts coming in, then what happens is it makes the soil saline, salty. And if you have a saline soil, then no crop is going to grow. So, excuse me, Sindh, in other words, is losing actual agricultural area because of total apathy on behalf of the Pakistanis. They don't know how to run. They don't know how to manage a country. These buggers are just getting up with a hatred of Hindus and go to sleep hating Hindus. This is their only and one occupation, nothing else. Good for nothing people. In 2024-2025, Pakistan mortgaged fertile lands of Punjab to China because they were failing to pay the installments. So now even the few fertile land that were there, even those are being mortgaged to China, and China is actually cultivating those 40,000 acres, if my memory serves me correctly. That's the amount of fertile land that they gave. So these are all in terms of how India is essentially making this thing effective from day one. Also, in Karachi port, India has got INS Vikrant, not very far from the mouth of the port, and there are many other ships. I'm told that are monitoring what is coming in and what is going out of Pakistan. I don't think India is blockading yet. I don't think so, because once you blockade, then that means you're basically saying it's war. And so I think India might be just looking at who's coming, who's going. There are this neutral countries which will import from India and re-export to Pakistan. I don't have to give you names. You already know who they are. In fact, to those countries, India explicitly says you cannot re-export these things. You have to use that yourself. Otherwise, take less from us. So India has become a net exporter, and it is not afraid to speak its mind for some of these deviants who will tell us. Give me 1 second. I'm getting a heat wave here because I did not insulate. Thank you. Thank you for being patient. I was getting a blast of hot air and also a blast of AC. It kind of makes it very hot and cold feeling. Okay. The Atari border has been closed, which means all that tamasha of people marching, and then one guy marching a little bigger than taking a higher kick than the other one, all that tamasha is now gone. And it's also believed that on the border, Khalistani linked middlemen were exporting agricultural goods to India from the Indian border farms into Pakistan. Now that is going to stop. Basically, when you say sealed, nothing comes in, nothing goes out. Right now, the only thing that is being allowed to leave India into Pakistan are those people whose visas have been cancelled and they have been asked to go home. These are Pakistanis spread all over the country. Home Minister Amit Shah has already issued a circular to all state governments to immediately round up all those people who are on Pakistan visas, to tell them that they need to leave immediately. Pakistan has closed its airspace to India. That is going to cause a lot of inconvenience to those flights that were using Pakistani airspace to save time. For example, from anywhere from India to, let's say, Russia, or to East European countries, or even to Frankfurt and beyond, all those flights will have to go through a more circuitous route. It's a minor inconvenience, but that means your flying time might be a little bit longer. It could cause delays. I mean, that is the downside to that. Now, the agri-procurement policies have also been modified by Modi government to bypass such intermediaries, that is the Khalistani-linked middlemen. The wheat aid to Afghanistan does not go through Pakistan. It goes through the Chabahar port. That will continue. And now Pakistani transporters, porters and government lose significantly income, and they'll be losing significant income and taxes from the closure of the border. You see here, right? This is the border, and you can see that big structure that was built, like it's like a auditorium. It's like a tamasha, I'm telling you. They'll come and do this march past at a particular time in the day. Each one will kick higher. Pakistan side will kick higher, come all the way to the gate and then go back. Indian guys also will come and kick and then go all the way back. I think it's a waste of time. Anyway, this is just my personal comment. There are many of us who's, even mine, for example, who have seen action in various parts of the defense. So it might be one might think that, look, this is not, don't trivialize it. It is something that means something to many people. So I respect that. So let's move on to the next topic. Now, the other thing, of course, is the reduction of the number of people who are going to be working in embassies. In India, there are 55 Pakistani people who are working in their embassies, and that has been reduced to 30. I don't know if it is one. I think it is per consulate. So anywhere, like for example, I think Pakistan may have consulates in Mumbai. I think they have one in Hyderabad. Maybe they have one in New Delhi. So all these places, there'll be a reduction, and corresponding reduction in the Indian headcount on the Pakistani side also, and they'll be returning home. All SAARC visas, South Asian something for countries, the C I know, including those for Pakistani medical patients, has been cancelled. So you go find another hospital, because this is what the sneaky thing that ISI does. ISI will send an ISI agent in the garb of a husband of a wife whose kid might be undergoing surgery. The real husband doesn't come. Somebody else will come, and that guy will melt into the crowds, and he goes and does his networking inside India. This has been done. This has been shown time and again. So the healthcare and trade industry also is going to take a big beating. And next, we are talking about what happens if Pakistan resorts to blackmail, nuclear blackmail. They say that now if you don't give us water, we are going to nuke you. What is the situation in terms of what does the Pakistan as an army, because it's only the army that owns the country, how much nuclear control do they have? They have nukes, but can they control them? Well, it is believed that the nuclear arsenal has been sold to Saudi Arabia and to the Rothschilds, which is deep state. You know that this is the deepest of the deep states, Rothschild. If you remember, there was one episode where Sumit Peer and I were talking about how 50 black cars went from Karachi airport to a place called some point, Pleasure Point or something like that. And they all returned with the security codes for turning on or off these nukes. So much of the nukes are now inactive, and without foreign authorization, nothing can be done. Now, why? So that is what they had done in the past. They are reportedly working on creating dirty bombs, but then you know what happened in 𝗟𝗏𝗄𝗎, and that again, Sumit Peer and I have covered this. A lot of damage has happened. I don't think they are going to be able to get a dirty bomb. They have been in touch with North Korea. They have been in touch with China. I don't think China will go to the extent of giving them a bomb and say, just go explode it and see if India gets hurt more by it than them. Because if something like that happened, the winds blow from Pakistan to India, but it also flows from Pakistan to China too. So it will be equal destruction for both. Now, one of the things that India can do is, let's say if Pakistan launches a nuclear missile, what can India do? One of the things it can do is it can intercept that missile inside the Pakistan airspace itself, and it can down it there, which means that it's going to hit them, Pakistan, more than it is going to hit India. But like I said, the fallout, the breeze, that is going to be across all the countries. So it's going to be very bad. Now, if they started this way, India can wipe out Pakistan. Remember, there are only 4 places you need to control in Pakistan to control the whole country. Already the airports are mortgaged to China. China runs the airports. Main railway stations are run by China. Seaports are run by China. So Pakistan is not really a country anymore. They have sold everything that they possibly can to China because they were not able to pay all the new loans. So we have to see what happens. The most likely scenario from looking at all this is Amir will be running away from Pakistan, go and hide in some country, maybe UAE or Saudi Arabia or US or Canada, and the whole thing starts dying down again. Asim Munir has made a mistake, but at whose egging? That's the question. There was a hand that was telling him to do this thing. Was it Chinese hand? Was it deep state? Was it the United States? Rogue elements in the United States? I don't know. You decide, viewers. You can tell by way of comments who you think could be involved, and please try to provide proof so that it makes a more interesting discussion. I have a bunch of links for what I have discussed so far, so I encourage all of you to go through those to get an even deeper understanding of what this is going to happen. The one unresolved issue is that if India had completed the Satluj-Yamuna link canal, then that would have made it much easier for India to take all the water and use it. Right now, the Satluj to Yamuna canal, the work between the border of Haryana to where the Satluj comes in, that part has been stopped by Punjab. Punjab never wanted to do this thing. I don't know when they are going to do it, because if they had done that, it's game over for Pakistan. They could have taken all the water, because that goes into Yamuna. You are talking at a major resource to take it and flow southwards. Even today, India can divert all these waters. Like, for example, there are points in Haryana where you have the water, if you put it on that bed, it actually flows like along the path of river Saraswati. The water is flowing. They have tested it. So there are lots of ways. India has a lot of options here. You have to wait and see what they are going to do, because it can turn Rajasthan into a green area, green zone. In fact, some parts of Rajasthan, because of some canals in the border areas to Punjab, they have become green. They are becoming agricultural generators. So right now, we have to see what else is going to happen in terms of readiness. The INS Vikrant, I told you, it is reportedly moved towards Karachi. Nuclear-powered submarines are also in position in the Arabian Sea. All preparations have been made to deter or neutralize Pakistan's military adventure. Now, who is with India at this point of time? Trump, that is United States, Russia, Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, UAE, Iran, Taliban, Baloch Liberation Army, and even China are aligning towards cooperation with Bharat. You may ask me, why UAE and KSA? Well, Islamic is one thing, but they have invested a lot of money in Kashmir Valley. And if the tourism dies, all their investments dry up. And whose fault is it? So Umar Abdullah has a lot of explaining to do. I mean, Rajdeep Sardesai was jumping up and down that, oh, if you want to solve the problem on the ground, you should have the local state chief minister, and it's a big thing. You know, people are saying that along with Rahul Gandhi and Sam Pitroda, Mr. Rajdeep Sardesai also was in the United States in the recent trip. I don't know. I don't want to take that as gospel truth. We have to find out. I mean, he was on the 22nd, he was back here, but was he there before that? I don't know. But clearly, this guy also has become much more of a, what can I say? Now, China is going easy because they need India as a partner, and they need to keep India away from the United States. Already, the terms of agreement for the free trade agreement are now in place. That was what the speech J.D. Vance gave 2 days ago in India. So the terms of agreement is like the broad canvas. What are the products that we are going to bring under the free trade agreement? That's all defined now. Only thing now will be tweaking of the numbers up or down and things like that. It's expected to be ready by October 1st. So let's wait and see. Now, the CPEC corridor has completely messed up China's plans to try and bypass the Malacca Strait. That's gone up in the air. The BRI that they had planned, CPEC was supposed to be BRI. That is completely up in the air. China needs Bharat's trade more than ever due to Western sanctions and market shrinkage. China has just now, I read that they have dropped the 125% tariffs on US goods. So they look at the thing. People are desperate. You can only posture for so long, then reality sets in. And the same thing for Mr. Asim Munir. Who knows? This guy might be deposed by his own army and another joker will take his place. So China may send weapons, but Pak lacks fuel reserves and equipment readiness for full-scale war. You know, yesterday night, if I remember correctly, there were many Indian IAF planes in the air over Pakistan. One F-16 took off from their airfield to try to engage them, and after 5 minutes or so, they returned back because they didn't have fuel. This is the reality of Pakistan. This is the reality of Pakistan. Pakistan's own generals like General Bajwa have admitted that their military is not capable. So, what is the final word? Indian reconnaissance planes have entered Pak airspace recently without resistance. Like I said, F-16 interceptor turned back because they didn't have enough fuel. Now, the deep state, whose captain or the face is Barack Obama, is accused of using the CIA and Pak's ISI to orchestrate the Pahalgam attack. I find that thing a little bit hard to believe, but nothing is impossible. These people are desperate because they have huge money invested in areas where they are about to lose their shirts on it, and they think that they have been ruling the world for hundreds of years, so why should it just be any different? This is their mindset. Just like the Muslim gets up in the morning in Pakistan to hate India and go to sleep dreaming about, getting wet dreams about how he has killed Kafirs, the same thing deep state also thinks that we are the rightful rulers of the world and we shall do what we want. So that is the angle there. And deep state wants India to not grow too fast, or perhaps if it grows, that they also make money in the process. So this is the other thing. Hidden agenda for the deep state is everywhere there is growth, they want to be part of the process. In fact, they put a lot of money in China and they are not able to take it out. You know why? Because China has put Capital controls. I told you this a long time ago. Capital controls are in place. American companies, British companies, Western companies, nobody can take money out, especially the profit that they are getting inside China. Like, for example, if it's a petroleum company, Chevron, for example, if they have made profits in China and they want to repatriate it back to US, no luck. It is believed that even UK may start putting capital controls. And if that happens, then UK is done and dusted. We'll see. Now, Deep State is allegedly accused of funding Hamas, Hezbollah, Houthi rebels, and Iran, and of sabotaging Israeli border surveillance on October 7th, just before the Hamas attack. There are some articles. Take a look at that. You can make your own conclusions. The DS goal is trigger a third major conflict apart from the Ukraine and Israel conflict, and see how it goes. Now, even as all this is happening, there is back-channel diplomacy taking place through UAE. Asim Munir has sent emissaries to the UAE requesting mediation. UAE has initiated back-channel talks with Bharat's NSA to diffuse the escalation, but we'll have to wait and see if anything comes out of it. Now, Bharat is at a strategic point in its future. If you look at the picture here, you can see the reality. The area that is on the top, area ceded to China by Pakistan, this was the 𝗥𝗘𝗙𝗄𝗏 Valley that has the highest amount of fresh water. And that has been given to China by Pakistan. Pakistan doesn't own that. India owns that. But what can you do? This happened in 1968. You know that the Gilgit-Baltistan is ready to merge with India. That's another thing. 𝗥𝗘𝗙𝗂 is the thing that is an area that it should be called Ghost Thana. That is the area that China has annexed from India under Nehru's stewardship, and they have built the Karakoram Pass road through the 𝗥𝗘𝗙𝗂. They will not give it up easily, and that the reason is that's the only easy connection from mainland China to Xinjiang. There's another road, but that's very, very rocky. So, with unprecedented global backing, India has the option to either seize Gilgit-Baltistan or economically and militarily cripple Pakistan through sustained strategic pressure. Now, you might ask me, what if there is a massive exodus of people from Pakistan into India? Because they'll say, we don't have water, we don't have electricity, we don't have any means of livelihood, so we would like to come to India. What will happen then? If 1 or 2 people are coming to the border, maybe they can shoot them out. But if 20,000 come to the border, what happens then? And what if they start taking it out on the hapless Hindus that are still stuck in Pakistan? All tough questions. We'll have to wait and see what happens. Now, let's take a look at what happened in the Baisaran Valley. Now, there are some things that I'm going to say here that is still being disputed. So don't take my word for it. I just wanted to tell you that this is what has been reported. But again, some tweets that were reporting this took back those tweets. So, like, for example, the all-party meeting that took place, Amit Shah had said that the tourism department did this thing on 20th April, and it is usually supposed to do it only from the 1st of June. And after they opened it, they did not inform the military or the police. So police comes under the center because this is a union territory. So this is another lapse in security. But also deliberately they found out that this was there. This loophole has been exploited. So what will Omar Abdullah have to say for this? Somebody has to take responsibility, don't you think? This is where India just lets things slip through. Somebody will give an excuse and then everybody says, oh, okay. It's not okay. 28 people, innocent people have died. Several intelligence agents have died, and many are still hanging on to dear life. And they have used M9 carbine guns. And when Biden snuck out of Afghanistan in the dark of night, I had said this. Oh, great, you're leaving all these weapons for them to turn it against India. That's exactly what is happening. I mean, it's nice to be prescient, but if nobody is going to be able to do anything, this has become like some of these military manufacturers in US, these are the companies to be blamed. They want to sell arms, anybody to everybody. If there is no conflict, they'll create a conflict and then supply arms to both sides. Okay, so 2 terrorists, out of the 4, 2 are locals. So 2 of them are locals. And one of them got trained in Pakistan and had returned just about a month ago. So why is it that India had not tracked this fellow? When you have somebody who's known to be a Pak sympathizer and has worked and doing something like this, is a typical OGW. I don't know which one, Asif Sheikh or Adil Tokar. One of them had gone to Pakistan, got trained and came back just recently. How is it that the intelligence didn't track this guy? And because he would have disappeared, they should have known what was going on. That was one thing. Then I'm hearing that some are saying both their houses have been bulldozed. Some are saying only one of them has been bulldozed. I don't know yet. I don't know still what is the exact situation. I'm sure in a few hours you will know what the situation is. Now, let's take a look at the place where the mishap took place. Balsaram, which is place of attack. You can see where the Amarnath Yatra's base camp is. Pahalgam is to the north of that, and this is really where the whole attack happened. It is 90 kilometers between Srinagar and Anantnag. I have been to Pahalgam. There is a river called the 𝗟𝗏𝗏 River, and I think that is still flowing. There's no change in that. But unfortunately, this has been very carefully planned and executed. And see, this is the other thing. My interactions with Kashmiris when I used to be there is they used to treat us differently. They used to say, "Aap India se hain," very, very respectfully. "Aap India se hain." I'm talking about 1979, when things weren't this bad. So take it for what it is. These people are indoctrinated the wrong way. They have it filled up to their cranium that Kafirs must be killed, that somehow we are superior to them. I don't know how they can show that superiority. I'm still waiting. And basically, they want everything free. Food is subsidized. A lot of food is subsidized in Kashmir Valley. In fact, I'm also told that for the longest time, they did not pay for the electricity. Only recently, Manoj Sinha's administration has forced them to prepay for the electricity that they consume. So things are changing for the better as far as getting normalcy going. And I don't buy, there was one thing that Omar Abdullah said, that there was one pony rider who died in the blast, and there is no backing information to that. So these are all the things like the 13th blast that Sharad Pawar said, that it was done by, that it took place in a Muslim neighborhood during the 1993 blast, just to make it look like it is even. These rascals will say anything, liars, scoundrels. That's all I can say. These people are here to fool us, and we keep getting fooled. So whose fault is it? That's what I would ask. Okay, so we have a lot of questions. I'm just going to take a minute to line them up, and then I'll start answering all your questions. Here, Karthik Gor said that this is an era of war. Modi will be forced to take action. As the legendary Al Capone once said, you can get further with a kind word and a gun than you can with just a kind word. A good one. All right. Let me see. Kannan Ramaswamy says, Pak military top brass has communicated to Bharat through UAE that Asim Munir, who started these hostile activities against Bharat, will be asked to resign to assure Bharat that they don't want a war. Well, these things you have to write it on water. You never know if it will take hold or not. Okay, Maverick says, without permission, Lieutenant General Manoj Sinha can't go to UP. If he's frequently going, maybe he's assigned some work by leaders. Can you say how many times he visited UP? But you have to criticize. I don't have to criticize Maverick. I'm just saying I got the data from a very reliable source, okay? I got the data from a very reliable source. He has to explain. Even once is too many, one time too many. This is a very sensitive state. If you notice what Major General Bakshi said, that you took out one complete RR contingent from Kashmir and moved it to China. That's why all these holes happened at the border itself. India has, balancing act, because for 3 years India did not recruit after COVID. So a lot of things are in churn right now. Pakistan Army was testing India's threshold to check how PM Modi will react to Pahalgam pre-planned terror attacks on Hindus. I don't know. Let's see. I'm just lining up all the questions. I think I'm almost done with the question lineup. Let me see. Just give me a minute here. Sorry. Not only Pakistan's X account blocked listed, but also all the Pakistani YouTube channels, all the other platforms should be totally blocked in India. Yeah, it is possible to do that. Sridhar says narrative is speculative, not a ground reality as of now. Another 48 hours, no action being this weekend. Next week, I won't be surprised if India makes U-turn. Well, I don't know what is speculative. I've showed you. And have you read the references, Sridhar? Did you read the reference links? I mean, if you want to accuse me of putting something as being speculative, you need to have some backing, right? I mean, I'm ready to accept my mistake. There's no problem with that. But you need to be able to show me where things are lacking. Anand Vijayan really spammed the hell out of this channel. Please don't do that because it becomes longer for me to go through this thing. Sanjay Dikshit Sarji, Jaipur dialogue. Also discuss about underwater in detail. Kindly make a video with him for one-stop information video. Why don't you tell me what you thought of this one? This one has all the locks and other things covered. All right. Okay. My God, there's so much today. Thank you for all your comments. SG says, Sarji, Sanjay Dikshit. Okay, same thing. Okay. Thank you for bringing so much in this video. It was much needed. There was so much information gap on this issue on social media with nationalist channels. Okay, so here we are getting confirmation from an independent person. I don't know Ajit Bharti, but he has also appeared to have raised this very issue. I don't get any pleasure in trying to find fault with anyone, okay? These are very stressful jobs. Home Ministry, Prime Minister, these are very stressful jobs. It's not easy. Okay, bunch of questions now. Let's go through the questions. Arvind Nayak wants to know a very relevant question. I'm curious exactly to know how can our government do or actually have such an infrastructure, or will it take time? How are we going to solve this Sutlej-Yamuna link canal? Because that's about 100 or 150 kilometers or 200 kilometers. I don't remember the exact number. From Haryana border to where Sutlej flows in Punjab. This land was actually acquired, and then just to be mischievous, either Congress government or the AAP government has been selling it back to the farmers. The land was acquired, it was paid for, it was all earmarked, and then these two governments have gone back and sold it back to the original farm. Somebody, they sold it back. So now you have to reacquire, repay all of them money. Don't you think it's stupid? How do these state governments really rule? They don't rule. They just want to make money. That's it. Manoj Soma wants to know, can we expect Modi to act in a lethal way to Pakistan? What are the consequences that Pakistan faces? See, if he acts too lethally, what's going to happen is there'll be a huge migration into India. The border fences may be able to stop 20, 100 people at a time. But what if 10,000 show up at the border? What do? You can't shoot them all down. That would be inhuman. So there are things to be thought about. So I think it will be like a tap. It will keep turning on and off to try and contain it. At the same time, they know their 𝗏𝗏. Thank you, Infinity. And thank you, Sanjay. Pranesh Rangarajan wants to know, how come Kerala High Court judges escaped from the attack? Media is also citing this huge lapse. What your says? I think that was just providential. That these are Hindu judges, I'm told, and they just happen to be leaving the place earlier than the actual incident happened. Manu wants to know, will China stop Brahmaputra from flowing to India if Indus water treaty is suspended? No, they can't do that. Brahmaputra is too fast. Okay, Krishnamurti Hunagun wants to know, long-term solution, change the demographic of Kashmir without worrying about outcries. Hindus should be settled there in large numbers, 1 crore maybe. There was a proposal that Dr. Swami had given. He said 5 lakh Kashmiri Pandits left. J&K, the Kashmir Valley, resettle there with 10 lakh ex-servicemen. Give them incentives, give them land, let them create enclaves, live there for 5-10 years, then move back and phase in the Kashmiri Pandit families back to there. That's one way to make this thing work. But, well, I don't know. For any constructive proposal in India, the Babus in India will give you 10 ways in which it is not feasible. After some time, the Minister just say, okay, fine, I get the idea. There are many negative thinkers, I'm telling you, negative thinkers. Vishal Singh wants to know, can Indus waters from its source in Ladakh region be diverted? No, it's not possible. It's really, really difficult. You have to, there is huge terrain issues at that for that. So that brings us to a close of today's program. Let me just see if there's any new questions. Oh boy. A lot of observations today. Vishal Singh says, unless you have elements of inhumanity, you can't be a true fighter. Just skills is not enough. You need mindset. I agree. All right then. Thanks for watching, guys. This was a great program, and you responded splendidly. And I'll be updating you. There's an evening program also. Maybe we'll touch upon this again. Thanks once again. Namaskar.